Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayesha Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 21, text number 6. Iti Venuravam Rajan Sarva Bhuta Manoharam Shutva Vrajastriyaha Sarva Varnayantyo Bhire Bhire. Iti Venuravam Rajan Sarva Bhuta Manoharam Shutva Vrajastriyaha Sarva Varnayantyo Bhire Bhire. I will read out. Translation purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace. O King, when the young ladies in Braja heard the sound of the King Krishna's flute, which captivates the mind of all living beings, they all embraced one another and began describing it. Purport. The word iti here indicates that after becoming speechless by remembering Krishna, the cowherd damsels then regained their composure and were thus able to ecstatically describe the sound of Krishna's flute. As a few gopis began to exclaim and the other gopis realized that they shared the same ecstatic love within their hearts, all of them started embracing one another, overwhelmed with conjugal love for Krishna. Om Ajnanatimrindasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I will read for some time and then explain few verses. Like that the gopis attracted by the flute, chapter 21, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. With the arrival of the beautiful autumn season, the waters in the lakes and rivers became as clear as crystal and filled with fragrant lotus flowers, and breezes blew very pleasantly. At the time, Krishna entered the forest of Vrindavan with the cows and the cowherd boys. Krishna was very much pleased with the atmosphere of the forest, where flowers bloomed and bees and drones hummed very jubilantly. While the birds, trees and plants were all looking very happy, Krishna, tending the cows and accompanied by Sri Balarama and the cowherd boys, began to vibrate his transcendental flute. After hearing the vibration of the flute of Krishna, the gopis in Vrindavan remembered him and began to talk among themselves about how nicely Krishna was playing his flute. When the gopis were describing the sweet vibration of Krishna's flute, they also remembered their pastimes with him. Thus, their minds became disturbed and they were unable to describe completely the beautiful vibration. While discussing the transcendental vibration, they remembered also how Krishna dressed, decorated with a peacock feather on his head, just like a dancing actor, and with the blue flowers pushed over his ear. His garment glowed yellow gold, and he was garlanded with Vaijayanti's necklace Dressed in such an attractive way, Krishna filled up the holes of his flute with the nectar emanating from his lips. So they remembered him entering the forest of Vrindavan, which is always glorified by the footprints of Krishna and his companions. Krishna was very expert in playing the flute, and the gopis were captivated by the sound vibration, which was attractive not only to them but to all living creatures who heard it. One of the gopis told her friends, "The highest perfection of the eyes is to see Krishna and Balaram entering the forest and playing their flutes and tending the cows with their friends." Persons who are constantly engaged in the transcendental meditation of seeing Krishna, internally and externally, by thinking of him playing the flute, entering the Vrindavan forest, and tending the cows with the cowherd boys, they have really attained the perfection of samadhi. Samadhi means absorption of all the activities of the senses in a particular object, and the gopis indicate that the pastimes of Krishna are the perfection of all meditation and samadhi. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that anyone who is always absorbed in the thought of Krishna is the topmost of all yogis. Another gopi expressed her opinion that Krishna and Balaram, while tending the cows with the cowherd boys, appeared just like actors going to play on a dramatic stage. Krishna was dressed in glowing garments of yellow, Balarama in blue, and they held twigs of mango tree, peacock feathers, and bunches of flowers in their hands. Dressed with garlands of lotus flowers, they were sometimes singing very sweetly among their friends. One gopi told her friends, "How is Krishna and Balarama looking so beautiful?" Another gopi said, "My dear friends, we cannot even think of his bamboo flute. What sort of pious activities did it execute so that it is now enjoying the nectar of the lips of Krishna, which is actually the property of us, gopis? Krishna sometimes kisses the gopis. Therefore, the transcendental nectar of his lips is available only to them." So the gopis asked, "How is it possible that the flute, which is nothing but a bamboo rod, is always engaged in enjoying the nectar from Krishna's lips?" Because the flute is engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord, the mother and the father of the flute must be happy. So, Krishna has these four extra madhuris, Rupa Madhuri, Venu Madhuri, Leela Madhuri, and Bhakta Madhuri. So it is very important to know the beauty of Krishna. We should always remember Rupa Smarana is highly recommended in the scriptures because we are all attracted to the material forms, right? So once one devotee was telling Srila Prabhupada that, "Prabhupada, just like iron is attracted to the magnet, as soon as some beautiful girl walks in, my head also is turned towards her." Then Prabhupada said, "Be careful, you will become andha in your next life." Right? So it is that is a natural attraction for opposite beauty, opposites beauty, like that. So Narada Muni says, "Rupam Bhagavato yattat manahkantaha shuchapaha apashyan sahaso tasta vaikalyat durmanaiva." So when Narada Muni had a glimpse of Krishna's darshan in his meditation, Rupam Bhagavato yattat manahkantam shuchapaham, all the incongruities in the mind are vanquished, are vanquished. And then when he is not able to see that form, his eagerness to see his form has increased millionfold. Then he was very, very distressed because of being unable to see Krishna, like that. So this verse, Barha Pidam, how many of you know this verse? Anybody knows? Bolo, give him mic. Here, Govind Kumar.
Barhapidam natavarvapu karnayo karnikaram Bibhratvasa kanakakapisham Vaijayantim chamalam Randhran venur adhara sudaya Purayan gopavrindai Vrindaranyam Swabadaramanam Pravishad Gita Kirtihi.
Very good. So all of you should memorize this verse, and then Aho Bakiyam Sthanakalakutam, these two verses which has transformed Sukadeva Goswami from impersonalist to a pure devotee of Krishna. Barha Pidam Natavara Vaphu Karnayo Karnikaram Vibradvashaha Kanakakapisham Vaijayanti Chamalam. So this is how we should remember Krishna every day. Right? Every day. Srila Prabhupada recommends in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela that while chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, every day one should remember the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan. And then in Golok Vrindavan, this is how Krishna walks very well dressed. Right? So the main feature of Krishna's beauty is peacock fan. Right? This peacock fan adorning this hair turban. And then he's having beautiful earrings. Actually, Mother Yashoda dresses Krishna as very beautiful with golden earrings and all. But all the gopas, they remove all the golden ornaments and all. They dress Krishna with flowers and all. So he is having Karnikara flower in his ear. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says that he is putting Karnikara flower only in one of his ears, indicating the intoxication of his youth. Intoxication of his youth. And then he is wearing yellowish, Pitambar Vastra. So when the sun rays, they fall on this Pitambar Vastra, there is a great reflection of that golden rays, and then it looks more beautiful. It looks more beautiful. And then he dressed himself very attractively like a dancing actor, purposefully, in order to arouse the romantic feelings of the gopis. That is. And then he is actually playing his flute. Right? So all the gopis, they consider the flute as their enemy. As their enemy. So that is why, because the gopis were criticizing the flute, that it has many holes. Krishna, out of compassion, filling those holes with the nectar of his lips. So that, so because of receiving that nectar from Krishna's lips, the flute has become very ecstatic. And it is glorifying, it is spreading its pride by, loudly, vibrating the beautiful sounds that are produced by Krishna and reaching the ears of the gopis to arouse envy in them. So this is how we should remember Krishna, this verse, Barhapidam Natvar, very most important verse. So this is how we remember Krishna all the time, especially at the time of death. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says in 87 chapter that there are three things. One is Shravanam, another is Mananam, third one is Nididhyasanam. So the Mayavadis, the impersonalists, Brahmavadis, they also have this. But for us, Vishwanath Chakravarti says, for Vaishnavas, that Shravanam means hearing the holy name of Krishna. Hearing the holy name of Krishna. And Mananam means remembering the meaning of the holy name of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then Nididhyasana means one should chant a holy name of Krishna with the intense desire, to have darshan of Radha and Krishna with this Shyam Sundara form, Radha and Krishna. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says, a neophyte devotee also, even if he remembers this beautiful form of Krishna, Sham Sundar form of Krishna, wearing yellowish cloth, wearing Vaijayanti garland, and his hairs are flowing, blackish hair, and then wearing Karnikara flower on his ears, and then standing in the three-banded Tribhanga form. Even if somebody is unable to complete, meditation means, dhyana means for 24 seconds you meditate, you keep the mind steady. Even if somebody, very difficult actually, 24 seconds we think like that. Sometimes, when they say 1 minute maunam, silence, then, ऐसा लगता है कि 1 घंटा कभी बंद खत्म हो जाएगा, like that. So 24 seconds, it's. But Vishwanath Thakur says, even if somebody thinks of Krishna's form, this form, then immaturely also, or a little bit inattentively also, still Krishna, out of his causeless mercy, gives him perfection and then gives him darshan of his beautiful form. Right? So remember this verse, and every day you chant this verse, whenever you get time or before chanting, like that. Remember the form of the Lord. So, the entire, because of the autumn season, the entire Vrindavan has become very, very beautiful. Has become very beautiful. So, all these lakes and rivers and ponds and all, they have assumed the lotus flowers are blooming very beautifully. And then how the breezes of Vrindavan, the waters of Vrindavan, all the flowers of Vrindavan, they are emanating the very, very beautiful fragrance. So how they received that fragrance, right? So every day, Mother Yashoda, she removes the clothes of Krishna and keeps them, puts them on the floor, Mother Earth. And then Mother Earth plunders the fragrance of the Krishna's body, which is transferred to the clothes of Krishna. And then the Mother Earth plunders the fragrance from those clothes and distributes to the rivers, the air, and the flowers. That's how Vrindavan has become beautiful. So, in order to enjoy, so Krishna is going into the forest, right? Akshanvatam phalamidam na param vidamaha sakyaha pashur anviveshatayor vayasya vaktram rajesha sutrayor anuvenu justam yairva nipitam anurakta katakshamoksham. So the gopis are saying that here gopi, the definition of the gopi is gupta, means secret. So secret. So here gopis are indirectly saying all these things. So why? Because gupta means secret. So the gopis means those who keep their love for Krishna very secretly in the deeper cores of their hearts. That is the meaning of gopi. Another meaning of gopi is gopayati. Gopayati means protecting. So they are protecting their bodies in such a way so that they can enjoy the nectar of Krishna's beauty. Another meaning is that they are protecting their bodies to they are protecting Krishna, from the effect of amorous desires in his heart. So that is the meaning of gopi. So they are indirectly saying that the perfection of our eyes is to see Krishna every day. Akshanatam phalam na param vidamaha. Param phalam. What is this? The perfection of our eyes is to see Krishna. Every day. So Brajesh Sutayor, Vishwanath Thakur says that even Balaram is also, everybody is considering Balaram also as son of Nanda Maharaj only. That is why, even though he is son of Vasudeva, but because he lived in Vrindavan all along, and then he is considering Nanda and Yashoda as his parents. So that is why he is known as Brajesh Sutayor. Brajesh Sutayor. Then when the Krishna is going into the forest, So Radha Govind Maharaj says that every day devotees should remember the most important pastime is Gochar and Leela. Right? So every day Krishna along with his friends, he goes very well, nicely decorated all the time. And then he goes to the forest, every day. And every day, all the gopis, and all the animals, every day, some gopis, they assemble on the terraces of their buildings, some gopis on the nearby bushes, some gopas, they are accompanying Krishna till some distance. All the animals, everybody, they assemble to have a glimpse of Krishna every day. Right? So, so the gopis were saying that actually all the animals, all the elderly people, everybody, actually Krishna's beauty is meant for everybody. But actually, all these gopas and then all these elderly gopis, all these animals and all, they enjoy Krishna's beauty, but we are stuck at home, so we cannot see. Because our mother-in-laws and husbands, they are stopping us from going to see Krishna. So everybody else is fortunate except for us. That is the meaning. That. So like when Yairvani Pitam Anurakta Katakshamoksham, he says Krishna's beauty is so wonderful that Va indicates that we want to touch, we want to hear, we want to taste, we want to see the beauty of Krishna. But how can we see? Because we are very shy. But don't worry. Those who have developed anurakta, intense attachment to Krishna, for them Krishna comes nearby and he casts his sidelong glances, and then our shyness and steadiness will be stolen. Like that. Once one newly wedded gopi, she was advised by her mother-in-law that don't go on the streets, at such a time, because Krishna is going. So otherwise there is one Kala Nag, a black snake will bite you, and then you will lose all your senses. Like that. But as usual, she didn't listen. So she also, along with other gopis, she was hiding behind the bushes, and then Krishna was going, and then Krishna immediately recognized, oh, new gopi, who is this? Usko bhi kabu mein lana hai. So what he did, he pinched one of the calves, and when Krishna walked in, only then already she was actually standing stunned, with her mouth open, ears open, eyes are wide open, like that. So then he walked, then he pinched a calf, and then that calf ran towards that gopi. Right? And then he went near with the excuse to fetch the calf back, and then he took his flute, he tapped on her head, and then he said, close your mouth, machhar ghus jayega. Like that, she was doing. Oh, then she remained stunned like that. She remained stunned like that. And then after some time, she didn't come back. And then mother-in-law was searching, where is she? And then she found stunned like that, like a painting in the picture in the painting, like that. मैं जो डर रहा था वही हुआ, काला नाग काट लिया. And then somehow or other she took. So there is one Jetani's daughter, the child is there. Said, you go and bring water. So she gave a pot. So go and bring the water from the well. And then she went. And then what she did, she was so much in ecstasy that she tied the baby to the rope. And then she was putting in the well because she was so much in ecstasy. Then I said, "Arey, bachao, bachao, kya ho gaya?" Like that. So Krishna cast his sidelong glance, and so like that. So that is the perfection of life. Perfection of our life, is to come and every day have darshan of Radha Ras Bihari. Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna looks like Radha Ras Bihari in Golok Vrindavan, except for the color. Right? Except for the color. So we are seeing Radha Ras Bihari means, we are seeing Krishna. Right? Pashyanti te me ruchirani ambasanta prasanna vaktra arunalochanani rupani divyani varapradani sakam vacham spruhaniyam vadanti. Right? Tair darshaner avyavair udhara vilasa hasekshita vamasuktai hrutatmana hut pranamscha bhakti anichato me asnuvate til pravadanti. So Prabhupada says that Pashyantite, beautiful verses, these two from 25th chapter, 3rd canto, please go and read. Prabhupada says, even a neophyte devotee also, who comes and have, so leave alone all these impersonalists who are doing tapasya in Himalayas and all. Anybody who comes and takes, a neophyte devotee also, comes and takes darshan of Radha Ras Bihari and enjoys the beauty of Krishna. Prabhupada writes in 4th canto Bhagavatam, Madirekshana. Madirekshana means one should make one's eyes as bumblebees and drink the beauty of Krishna, beautiful deity form, every day. So Prabhupada says, everybody cannot do that. He adds also, everybody can, Madirekshana. So one should look at the form of the Lord and drink the beauty of Krishna, like that. So because Krishna's beauty is, described with lotus, all everywhere lotus flowers, lotus flowers. So in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu it is mentioned, the gopis' eyes are like bumblebees. And then Krishna's 7, right? 8 lotus parts are there. So any part that they see, the so much nectar that is emanating, the bumblebees are stuck in the thick honey of Krishna's beauty. And then they were unable to, get out of that mud of honey, like that. So Prabhupada says, anybody who comes and have darshan of beautiful forms of Radha Ras Bihari, without anichatome means without their desire, without their knowledge, they are sent back to Godhead. They are sent back to Godhead. That is why we should not neglect, we should not talk and simply drink the beauty of Radha Ras Bihari. Like that, there is a beautiful description like that. They are saying, Gopya Hakim Acharet Ayam Kushalashma Venur Damodar Adar Sudam Api Gopikanam. This Venu, how we got such, what austerity this Venu has performed, that he is drinking the beauty of the nectar of Krishna's lips, which is meant only for us. Actually, Krishna is Gopa and then we are Gopis. We are of the same community. So, actually, we are the rightful owners of the nectar of his lips. But this stupid Venu, how he is stealing our property? What tapasya he has done. Right? Even though the Venu is full of holes, means full of faults, but what tapasya he has done? Even though he is of the same gender, male, but still, drinking the beauty of lips of nectar of Krishna's lips. What tapasya he has done? And not only that, he is teasing us. He is, by vibrating so beautiful sounds and stealing our property. What is the property? Steadiness, soberness, discrimination, Aryapatha. All these properties the Venu is stealing. This Sanchari, Vishnu Chakravarti says, Sanchari Bhava of envy. I think this Venu, we should teach him a lesson. We should One day, Radharani is coming, Hemant Rutu, and then Krishna approached her. He said, Radhike, please enter my heart, which is very warm, because of eagerness to meet you. Then your coldness, you will not feel cold, like that. Then Srimati Radhika, she was resisting Krishna, and then there was a hatapai, and the Krishna's flute fell, and then Krishna did not recognize. So Lalita Devi stole that Venu, and then hidden that Venu in the hair. And then later on they said, let us play dice. So then on the bank of Radhakund, where there is a beautiful the money, this stage made with money, jewels, they were sitting, and then they were playing. So what is the name of Radharani? Is Jayashri. So who can defeat Radharani? So Krishna was playing dice, and then so Krishna was losing. The first, he lost Kaustuba jewel. Right? Then he was feeling very distressed. Then he was very happy that, it was hanging around the neck of Radharani. The next, Krishna lost very valuable, jewels. Said, okay, I have some more, like that. Then one by one, he lost all his, ankle bells and, bangles and then earrings, all expensive, one way. Then he said, now I got nothing. Then Shakuni said, when Yudhishthira said, I lost everything, Are Draupadi hai na? Like that. Then your stupid Venu is there. Put it like that. So that also he lost the game. He lost the game. And then give your Venu, give your Venu, because he's our enemy, troubling all of us, like that. So when Krishna, searched his sash, it is not there. So where it is, where it is. Hey, Madhumangal, did you take it? You are a natural thief and debauchee. I am born in Brahmin family, traditional sanskari. You are accusing me of stealing your... No, I don't know. Like that. Then he was searching everywhere. Then he said, hey, Madhumangal, you are a Brahmin and you studied astrology. Why don't you search... through your astrological power, find out who has stolen. Who has stolen. And then he studied the horoscope and all that. Then he concluded that Lalita Devi is stolen. So before Krishna could find, Srimati Radharani came and took away the flute and then hidden her under the wheel. Like that. And then meanwhile, Krishna was about to search, and then meanwhile they heard, Jatila has come, Jatila has come. They all became scared. Then Krishna took the form of a Vedic Brahman. Beautiful, wearing white cloth, durva grass, and so very looking with the sika, shaven head. Krishna is looking so beautiful. Then Radhe, kidhar hai? Where are you? And then he said, no, I'm worshipping Surya Dev, that is why I became late and all that. So Surya Dev became so enchanted by the wonderful the words of Srimati Radharani, and then he was so happy that he was able to see his Ishtadeva, Radha and Krishna, and then he was so much in ecstasy. Then the Krishna in the form of Brahmin, he said, hey Radhike, in order to fulfill all your desires, please do circumambulation of... Then Krishna was chanting such mantras, beautiful mantras with his beautiful sweet voice. So Surya Dev, even though he is the guru of the entire world and then he was expert in Vedas and all, he could not understand the meaning of those mantras. And then he was actually chakkar mein pad gaya, kya hai iska mantra ka kya arth hai, like that. Then Radharani also became enchanted, ye kaun sa mantra pad raha hai abhi naya, like that. And then Krishna told Srimati Radharani that you do circumambulation, you do the circumambulation of the priest, then all your desires will be fulfilled. All your desires will be fulfilled. And then when Srimad Radharani bent down to offer obeisances, that flute fell. Then Srimad Radharani, in order to explain to Jatila how the flute came, she told so many lies that even Brahaspati and they all also became bewildered, so beautifully. Then Krishna said, okay, give me the flute, I will throw it in the Yamuna because he is causing all trouble. Like that he got back his flute. So they are always making plans to how to steal the flute. Like that. Then Vrindavane Sakhi Bhuvo Vitanoti Kirtim Yad Devaki Sut Padambuja Labda Lakshmi Govinda Venum Anumatta Mayura Nrityam Prekshadrimam Avaratanya Samasta Sattvam. Vrindavan, come, let us all go to Vrindavan, because Vrindavan has become very glorified because of the wonderful sweet pastimes being performed by Sri Krishna. Let us all go. Vrindavanam Sakhi Bhuvo Vitanoti Kirtim. So Vrindavan is glorifying the fame, spreading the fame of Mother Earth, all over the universe, because he's more beautiful, more famous, became more famous than Swarga, even Vaikuntha. Why? Because Vitanoti Devaki Sutta Padambuja Labda Lakshmi. So Govinda's lotus footprints are being imprinted all over Vrindavan. So that has become the wealth of Vrindavan Bhumi. All these footprints of Krishna's lotus feet. So it has become a treasure of all the Vrindavan Vasis. That is why Vishwanath Chakravarti says in Vaikuntha and in other places, Krishna is always wearing chappal, paduka. Right? But in Vrindavan, Krishna never wears padukas. There is one very great devotee, Vedanta Deshika. He wrote Paduka Sahasram. Ashukavitvam means some competition was there, and then within 1 hour he just composed wonderful prayers to Padukas. Paduka Sahasram. In Sri Vaishnava they glorified a lot their Paduka Sahasram, Vedi, like that. Especially Ramchandra's Padukas are very nicely glorified. But in Vrindavan, Krishna is not wearing any Padukas. That is why he is leaving around the footprints all over. So Vrindavana Sakhi Bhuvo Vitanoti Kirtim Yad Devaki Sutta Padambuja Labda Lakshmi Govinda Venum Anumatta Mayur Nrityam Prekshadrimam Avaratanya Samasta Sattvam. He says, peacocks, all the peacocks, they approached Govinda, said, my dear Govinda, please sing nicely. Please play your flute very nicely. We want to dance. So Krishna's color is blackish, so cloud. So they felt, it is, and then he is pouring the nectar drops, raindrops of his beautiful singing. So all the peacocks, they opened up their plumes and then they started dancing. And then Krishna was also dancing. So it's a beautiful sight where Krishna was surrounded by all the peacocks. And Samasta Sattvam, all the deer, the cows and the calves, everybody, they gathered around. And they were actually watching this beautiful spectacle of Krishna's playing flute, standing in the bending form, three-bending form, and then all the peacocks dancing. And they went up to the hills, onto the trees, branches and all, and then they were actually, watching. And then meanwhile, somebody asked Prabhupada, why Krishna wears peacock feather? What did Prabhupada say? Because Krishna said, Prabhupada said, Krishna likes it. But here Vishwanath Thakur says that just like, when a dancer performs dances, the spectators, they give some gift, tofa, being pleased with the dance performance. Like that, all the peacocks, they were very pleased with Krishna's dance performance and flute, singing performance. So they gifted their peacocks feathers. So please wear them. That's why Krishna started wearing, he is always wearing peacock feathers. Like that, there is a description. The lakes and the rivers are considered to be the mothers of the trees because trees live simply by drinking water. So the waters of the lakes and rivers in Vrindavan were in a happy mood, full of blooming lotus flowers, because the waters were thinking, how is it that our son, the bamboo rod, is enjoying the nectar of Krishna's lips? The bamboo trees standing by the banks of the rivers and the lakes were also happy to see their descendant so engaged in the service of the Lord, just as persons who are advanced in transcendental knowledge take pleasure in seeing their descendants engage in the service of the Lord. The trees were overwhelmed with joy and were incessantly yielding honey, which flowed from the beehives hanging on their branches. Another gopi spoke thus to her friends about Krishna: "Dear friend, our Vrindavan is proclaiming the glories of this entire earth because this planet is glorified by the lotus footprints of the son of Devaki. Besides that, when Govinda plays his flute, the peacocks immediately become mad, as if they had heard the rumbling of a new cloud. When all the animals and trees and plants, either on the top of Govardhan hill or in the valley, see the dancing of the peacocks, they all stand still and listen to the transcendent sound of the flute with great attention. We think that this boon is not possible or available on any other planet." Although the gopis were village-covered women and girls, they had extensive Vedic knowledge. Such is the effect of Vedic civilization. People in general would learn the highest truths of the Vedas simply by hearing from authoritative sources. Another gopi said, "My dear friends, just see the deer. Although they are dumb animals, they have approached the son of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna. Not only are they attracted by the dress of Krishna and Balaram, but as soon as they hear the playing of the flute, the deer, along with their husbands, offer respectful obeisances unto the Lord by looking at him with great affection." The gopis were envious of the deer because the deer were able to offer their service to Krishna along with their husbands. The gopis thought themselves not so fortunate because whenever they wanted to go Krishna, their husbands were not very happy. So the deer, "Danyosmi modagatayo ya harinyayeto ya nandanandan upat vichitra vesho akarnya venuranitam saha Krishna sara pujam dado virachitam pranayavaloke." The deer, so the gopis are saying, we are actually the coward girls, lesser than us animals. Even the animals, they are attracted to Krishna. Not only human beings, even animals also are attracted to Krishna. And they are not prevented by their husbands. So the deer, they come and they offer their service to Krishna by their pranayavaloke, by their loving glances. But we cannot do that. And the husbands, they are not envious because they encourage their wives. Go, go, go. Krishna is coming. We go. Like that. Right? So they encourage, they also become attracted by Krishna. But unfortunately, we are not like that. Right? So, Prabhupada, many people, they say, Krishna is dancing with other men's wives. Why do you like that? So Prabhupada asked one of the Grahastha, suppose if your wife goes to dance with Krishna, will you have an objection? The husband said, no, the husbands will be very happy, that their wives are dancing with Krishna. Right? And they think that, oh, my wife is dancing with Krishna, my life is successful. My samsara, Grahastha life is successful, my wife is a great devotee of Krishna. Right? Prabhupada said, Krishna is the husband of all women. And then you are immoral, you are stealing Krishna's wife and trying to enjoy. Right? We are immoral, not Krishna is immoral. Like that. Gandhi, even great Gandhiji also said, if this personality has danced with the gopis of other man's wife, I will reject him as God. Like that he wrote in the truth, experiments with the truth. Right? But this is the reality, that Krishna is the husband of all he is the only Purusha, and then everybody else is a Stri. Right? Once Mirabai came to Vrindavan, she wanted to meet Jiva Goswami. Jiva Goswami replied, saying that I am a sannyasi, I don't want to meet women. Then she replied back, saying that I heard that in Vrindavan there is only one Purusha. How come another Purusha has come to Vrindavan? Oh, then so that is, only Krishna is the only Purusha, and then everybody else is Stri. Like that. So in the next verse, the gopis are saying that Krishnam nirikshaya vanitotsava rupasilam Venu cha tat kvadita venu vivikta geetam, Shrutva cha tat kvanita venu vivikta geetam, Devyo vimanagatayaha smaranunasara. Here, Krishna Sara means Krishna is the only object of worship. In the previous verse, Krishna Thakur says, Krishna is the, for them, Krishna is the only, Krishna Sara means male deer. But another meaning is Krishna Sara means Krishna is the only object of worship for the deer, like that. Another meaning. Like that, once Uddhava came to Vrindavan, then he saw all the gopas there, doing achaman, sankalpa. Sankalpa Krishna Paksha, like that they were saying, all that, Krishna Paksha and all that. And then Uddhava heard, Hare, ye to Sukla Paksha hai na? Right? Sukla Paksha hai na? So why are you saying Krishna Paksha? Then the Gopas have replied, we are always Krishna Paksha only. Right? Like that. So for us there is no Krishna Shukla Paksha, only Krishna Paksha. Like that. So here, being attracted by Krishna's beauty, Rupa Silam, and by his qualities, the visiting wives of the demigods. So Krishna's beauty is a festival for the eyes of all the residents of on this earthly planet and then heavenly planets also. So when the wives of the demigods, when they were visiting Vrindavan, sitting in the aeroplanes, sitting on the laps of their husbands, so seeing Krishna's beauty and seeing Krishna's wonderful qualities, they became so enchanted. Devyo vimanagatayo smaranunasara. And then their lusty feelings were aroused in their hearts. What happened when their lusty feelings were aroused in their hearts? Their belts have become loosened. And the hairs became loosened. And the flowers are falling. And being so enchanted by Krishna's beauty, they who are sitting on the laps of their husbands, they fell from the Vimana. They fell from the Vimana. But gopis are saying, husbands, they did not bother. They did not mind, they did not mind that our wives are attracted to Krishna, what to do, oh, Krishna chura lega. So they didn't feel like that. And they also encouraged, and every time, again and again, they were bringing their wives, go, enjoy the beauty of Krishna. But our husbands, they are such fools. They are not allowing us to enjoy the beauty of Krishna. Like that. Gavascha Krishna Mukha Nirgata Venu Gita Piyusha Muttavita Karnapute Pibantyaha. So this is very beautiful when the calves and the cows, they were hearing the Krishna's beautiful sound vibration. This is Vasilya Prema. So cows. So they would take in the grass, and instead of chewing the grass and putting it in their stomach, they became so enchanted that they remained with their mouths open. And Govinda, Drushashru, Govinda Atmani Drushashru. So they were actually, eyes are shedding tears, their mouths are open, looking at Krishna, and the ears, they became so huge, Uttabita, they stood up, erect, and they were so much in ecstatic condition. So Krishna is Mukunda Avatara, Krishna is Vishwarup Avatara, Krishna is Amrita Avatara. Right? Amrita Avatara. So every day the cows and the calves, they don't drink water and they don't eat grass, because they are always enchanted by the flute sound of Krishna. And then how will they get nourishment? Because they're not eating grass. So Krishna has Amrit in his hands, lotus hands. He would rub the bodies of the cows and the calves, and all the nourishment automatically takes place. Another gopi said, my dear friends, Krishna is so nicely dressed that he appears to be the impetus to various kinds of ceremonies held by women folk. Even the wives of the denizens of heaven become attracted after hearing the transcendental sound of his flute. Although they are traveling in the air in their airplanes, enjoying the company of their husbands, on hearing the sound of Krishna's flute, they immediately become perturbed, their hair is loosened, and their belts are slackened. This means that the transcendent sound of the flute of Krishna extended to all corners of the universe. Also, it is significant that the gopis knew about the different kinds of aeroplanes flying in the sky. Another gopi said to her friends, "My dear friends, the cows are also charmed as soon as they hear the transcendent sound of the flute of Krishna. It sounds to them like the pouring of nectar, and they immediately spread their long ears just to catch the liquid nectar of the flute. As for the calves, they are seen with the nipples of their mothers pressed in their mouths, but they cannot suck the milk. They remain stuck with devotion, and tears glide down from their eyes, illustrating vividly how they are embracing Krishna heart to heart. These phenomena indicate that even the cows and the calves in Vrindavan knew how to cry for Krishna and embrace him heart to heart. Actually, the perfection of Krishna consciousness can be culminated in the shedding of tears from the eyes." His Holiness Gaur Govind Maharaj always used to say, the Vrindavan is Madhurya Dhama, and then Mayapur is Audharya Dhama, and Jagannath Puri is Vipralamba Kshetra, crying. So, Krishna crying for Radharani, and Radharani crying for Krishna. Both the forms are in Vrindavan and Jagannath Puri. So that is why I have opened a crying school. He says that you should know how to cry for Krishna. So if you don't know how to cry for Krishna, that you learn to cry how to cry for Krishna. Right? We should learn how to cry for Krishna. So Prabhupada says, when we read Krishna book and tears come from our eyes, then all the contamination in our heart becomes washed away by the tears that come from our eyes when we hear about Krishna's pastimes. Like that. So, prayah batamba vihuga munayo vanasmin. Right? Krishnam nirikshay uditam kalavenu geetam. Right? So, the gopis are saying that all the birds on the branches of the trees, they are munis, they are sages. All the sages from all over the world, they came in the form of the birds, and they were sitting on the branches of the tree. They are sitting on the branches of the tree, and they are enjoying the Krishna's flute sound. And they are afraid that they would fall from the branches of the trees. They would fall from the branches of the trees. That is why they are catching hold of the branches very tightly and closing their eyes and then hearing the beautiful sound. Because of the beautiful sound of Krishna's vibration from the flute, even the branches also which are dried up, they were actually, all the leaves and all, they are growing back. They are growing back like that. My dear mother, the birds who are looking at Krishna playing on his flute are sitting very attentively on the branches and twigs of different trees. From their features, it appears that they have forgotten everything and are engaged only in hearing Krishna's flute. This proves that they are not ordinary birds. They are great sages and devotees, and just to hear Krishna's flute, they have appeared in Vrindavan forest as birds. Great sages and scholars are interested in Vedic knowledge, but the essence of Vedic knowledge is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedeshcha sarvair ahameva vedyaha. Through the knowledge of the Vedas, Krishna has to be understood. From the behavior of these birds, it appeared that they were great scholars in Vedic knowledge, and they took to Krishna's transcendental vibration and rejected all branches of Vedic knowledge. Even the river Yamuna, one thing I wanted to add, that Vishwanath Thakur says that this flute sound can be emanated, vibrated only by Krishna, not by Narad Muni, not by Tumbura, not by any Gandharvas, not by Lord Shiva, not by Lord Brahma, not by Saraswati, not by Vishnu also. Nobody can, only Krishna can take over. So there are three kinds of Gandharva Vidyas. Gandharva means Sangeet Vidya. One is Manushya Gandharva, another is Deva Gandharva, and then third one is Brahma Gandharva. So there is one beautiful, whatever this Sarigama Padanisa, this is Manushya Gandharva. It will take so many years to learn this Manushya Gandharva also, to expert. Prabhupada said this Pandit Ravi Shankar practiced for 7 lifetimes. That is why he became so perfect in playing sitar. One day Prabhupada was sitting in Air India flight, they were playing Pandit Ravi Shankar's music. I think Pandit Ravi Shankar and George Harrison, they were friends, and they came to visit Prabhupada in Vrindavan. Yeah. So Prabhupada was asking his disciple, he is playing, is it nice? Yeah, Prabhupada, very nice. Prabhupada said, sense gratification. Like that. So, there is one pastime, some other time I'll explain. Krishna took all the Dwarkavasis. In first kind of Bhagavatam, you study about the prostitutes. Krishna arranged prostitutes in Dwarka, and then they are society girls and allotted to each prince. Why? Because there should not be any enviousness among all these Dwarka boys. That's why Krishna arranged all these prostitutes. Very surprising, prostitutes in Dwarka. But Krishna arranged a picnic party, Pindaraka Kshetra. Then he arranged a beautiful ship, and then all facilities. And then he called all the Gandharva girls, Apsaras, and he told them to enter these prostitutes and give enjoyment to all the Dwarka boys. Full enjoy kar lo. And then he called Narad Muni and Tumbura that you bring Deva Gandharva and perform. So Deva Gandharva, I think now Sarigama Padanisa, they have some 21 ragas, 21 whatever aksharas. Beautiful, very complicated. So Narad Muni brought Deva Gandharva in Dwarka, and then he left it also. Some people, they know it's in Deva Gandharva. But this Brahma Gandharva, when Krishna started playing flute in Vrindavan, standing under the Vamshi Vat, the Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma and all, because when music lovers, they are all music lovers, they went with a notebook and pen, saying that, we will note down the new notes Krishna is playing, like that. So when they thought that this is beyond our capacity, so that is why they, up to page number 2, let me finish? I think we should finish. Up to the, so they said, it is not our syllabus, within our syllabus. So we will not understand, just like intermediate student, once, BSc first year, we were trying to study Einstein's relativity theory. Then we cannot understand anything. He said, it's not our cup of tea. Right? Like that, they said, it's not our cup of tea. Let us, let them, then they just closed their ears and they simply enjoyed the Krishna's flute sound vibration. But this Brahma Gandharva is meant only for the gopis. And then in the commentary on Gopi, Ras Panchadhyaya, Sridhar Swami comments that our goal should be one day we should be able to hear this Krishna's flute vibration. Then that will be our success of our life. Success of our life. So that time I will explain more. The scorching heat of the autumn sunshine was sometimes intolerable, and therefore the clouds in the sky appeared in sympathy above Krishna and Balaram and their boyfriends while they engaged in blowing their flutes. The clouds served as a soothing umbrella over their heads just to make friendship with Krishna. The aborigine girls became fully satisfied when they smeared their faces and breasts with the dust of Vrindavan, which was reddish from the touch of Krishna's lotus feet. The aborigine girls had very full breasts, and they were also very lusty, but when their lovers touched their breasts, the girls were not very much satisfied. When they came out into the midst of the forest, they saw that while Krishna was walking, some of the leaves and the creepers of Vrindavan had turned reddish from the kunkuma powder which fell from his lotus feet. His lotus feet are held by the gopis on their breasts, which are smeared with kunkuma powder, but when Krishna travels in Vrindavan forest with Balaram and his boyfriends, the reddish powder falls on the ground, so the lusty aborigine girls, while looking towards Krishna, playing his flute, saw the reddish kunkuma on the ground and immediately took it and smeared it over their faces and breasts. In this way, they became fully satisfied. Although they were not satisfied when their lovers touched their breasts, all material lusty desires can be immediately satisfied if one comes in contact with Krishna consciousness. Another gopi began to praise the unique position of Govardhan Hill in this way. How fortunate is this Govardhan Hill, for it is enjoying the association of Lord Krishna and Balaram, who are accustomed to walking on it. The Govardhana is always in touch with the lotus feet of the Lord, and because Govardhana Hill is so obliged to Lord Krishna and Balaram, it is supplying different kinds of fruits, roots and herbs, as well as very pleasing crystal water from its lakes in presentation to the Lord. The best presentation offered by Govardhan Hill, however, is newly grown grass for the cows and the calves. Govardhan Hill knows how to please the Lord by pleasing his most beloved associates, the cows and the cowherd boys. Another gopi said, everything appears wonderful when Krishna and Balaram travel in the forest of Vrindavan, playing their flutes and making intimate friendship with all kinds of moving and non-moving living creatures. When Krishna and Balaram play on their transcendental flutes, the moving creatures become stunned and stop their activities, and the non-moving living creatures like trees and plants begin to shiver with ecstasy. These are the wonderful reactions to the vibration of the transcendental flute of Krishna and Balaram. Krishna and Balaram carried binding ropes on their shoulders and in their hands, just like ordinary cowherd boys. While milking cows, cowherd boys bind the cow's hind legs with a small rope. This rope almost always hangs from the shoulders of cowherd boys, and it was not absent from the shoulders of Krishna and Balaram. In spite of their being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they played exactly like cowherd boys, and therefore everything became wonderful and attractive. While Krishna was engaged in tending the cows in the forest of Vrindavan or on Govardhan Hill, the gopis in village were always absorbed in thinking of him and discussing his different pastimes. This is the perfect example of Krishna consciousness, to somehow or other remain always engrossed in the thoughts of Krishna. The vivid example is always present in the behavior of the gopis. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya declared that no one can worship the Supreme Lord by any method which is better than the method of the gopis. The gopis were not born in very high Brahmin or Kshatriya families. They were born in the families of Vaishyas and not in big mercantile communities, but in the families of cowherd men. They were not very well educated, although all sorts of knowledge from the Brahmanas, the authorities of Vedic knowledge. The gopis' only purpose was to remain always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 21st chapter of Krishna, the gopis attracted by the flute. Hantaya madri rabala aridasavarya yad Ramakrishna charnasparsha pramodaha manam tanoti go ganayos tayoryat pani suyavasa kandara kandamule. Here there is no time, but some other time I'll explain. There is a whole lot of commentary on that. This is a very beautiful verse, Hantaya Madri Rabala. This verse is spoken by Srimati Radharani. So there are three Haridasas, Yudhishthir Maharaj, Uddhava, but Govardhan is known as Haridasavarya, best of all, because he is doing so much service to Krishna. Like that. So you can remember this verse, Hantaya Madri Rabala Haridasavarya, because Govardhan is there. So whenever you are offering obeisances, you can chant that verse. Shloka man, aata hai aapko? Learn these verses, very beautiful verses. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.